बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अस्सलाम वालेकुम। लिटरेरी थ्योरी के ये एमसीक्यूज़ हैं। फर्स्ट एमसीक्यूज़, concept of phonologically was introduced by Raffel. Raffel followed and influenced by theories of B. René Descartes. Third, phonology is based on our consciousness. Fourth, in phonologically, objects are considered as intended by consciousness. The act of thinking and object of thought is phonology are mutually dependent. Consciousness of phonologically we treat objects our own views. In breaking off of things, we force things generally. B option, things we are confided with. Raphael used the word ethic for phonological. Greek, Spanish, Roman, non-Greek. Phonologically is based on conception of third C. Concrete. Phonology is a form of methodological idealism. 11. Human consciousness is purely subjective. Phonology is related to formalism. Raphael was supported by his colleagues in his conception. Heidegger. Phonological criticism aims at eminent reading of texts. Phonologically was flourished in Genoa School of Thought in 1940 to 1950. Which of the following literary theories is most closely became known as liberal humanism? Aristotle. What is humanism? First, a humanity created view of all the universe, a school of theory devoted to the revival of classic literature, a theory that values refrain from the imagination. All of above सब इसमें शामिल है. The key philosophical figure in the development of classical liberalism is John Locke. The natural law perspective on international law is most associative with which IR theory, liberalism, which humanists reacted against the structuralism of want and picture. Abraham Maslow, who was the most illustrative discipline of securities Plato. What are some common criticism of literary theory? All of the above answers were correct. What is memes? A poetic metaphor. What of the following is a key factor that distinguished liberalism from realism? All liberals believe that human beings are relational enough to learn from their mistake. Which of the following statements best explain Bakhtin's philosophy of language? Language exhibits and is bound up in the social life and historical context of the people who speak it. According to classical liberal philosophers, what brought man out of state of nature? The social contrast and established of government. What is the classical liberal obstacle to freedom? Government. According to Plato, what is the moral purpose of art? To connect human beings with a higher idea. How sad that Android was a for literature rather than a critic's T.F. Eliot. What approach to literary criticism required the critic to know about the author life and time historical? What fundamental idea does facultative criticism hold about literary texts revealed secret elements of an author unconscious? Some critics of literary theory argue that literary theory is problematic, from which reason all of the above answers are correct. Plato has a positive view of art, if so far as it contributes to the spiritual growth of people. Humanism was created as a reaction against what two major schools, psychoanalysis and behaviorism. How founded humanism? Maslow, Rogers, Allport. The new critics were formalist, formalist critics. What approach to literary criticism required the critic to know about the time? Historical. Formalistic critics believe that the value of a work cannot be determined intention. What term do they use when speak of this belief? The international fallacy. What poet popularized the term objective correlate with which is often criticism? T.F. Eliot. In a Freudian approach to literature, concave images are usually seen female symbols. He was an influential force in criticism. Chuck. Ferv is an association with perfection. The feminist critic proposed that all female characters in literature the following strange of development. The feminist or female strange. Showalter. A critic argues that in John Milton, Samuel argues the symbolic of the creation, the hands of what kind of critics using psychological approach. One for in literature in the Sakharov court which of theory purpose biblically but one of the disadvantages of this school of criticism is that it tenders subjective reader response criticism. The literary critic coined the term fancy. Samuel the critic approach assumption that language does not refer to any fifth several contradictory interpretation of one text. Deconstructionalism. Modern literary theory began with the work of which theorist Ferdinand de Saussure. One in literature, Sakharov quote which of those literary purpose be about. What does new historical difference from traditional historicism? All of the above answers. How propose that poets should be banished from the idea public Plato. What does structuralism recommended as approach to literature? Third, becoming more familiar with the history of women and women's writing. Horace was a Roman writer. A critic explained Pope. An easy own man asked herself, how well does this poem record with the real world? Memtic. In Dryden's essay of dramatic poetry, there are four intercluster representing four different ideologies, which of them express Dryden's own views. Neither. What do many contemporary theories find problematic about the literary canon? All of the above answer of the correct. Which literary theorist argues that there is nothing outside the text? T.F. Eliot. The feminist critic purpose that all female characters in literature the following strange of development the feminist फिर repeat हुआ ये which of the following writer might be considered one of the early founder of first war feminist? Mary. Poetic diction was taken to be the standard language for poetry in the new classical age, with which theory is phonologically associated. All of above answers. What did Filey say about the observe of three dramatic unities in the drama? They must be observed. What if phonologically? The examination of structure inform our conscious experience. Arnold's view on poetry and creativism are discussed in Cultural and Anarchy, which of following theorist is associated with formalist. Victor, the poet might be described as a moral or philosophical critic for arguing that works must have high seriousness. Matthew Warner. How is the father of structuralism? Ferdinand de Saussure. Swiss linguistic Ferdinand de Saussure influenced this theory through examination of language as a system of sign. Philologically, Saussure's theory of language emphasizes that meanings are arbitrary and relational. Ferdinand de Saussure was born in 1857. Structuralism in European development in the earlier 20th century. Structuralism is an intellectual movement which is the first seen in the Levi-Strauss and Roland. What is semiotics? The study of signs. Types of sign are signified A and B. Answer इसका is a structure in which each element interacts language. Dash seeks the process of meaning and production. Structuralism. The signifier is not arbitrary. In literary theory, dash is an approach to analyze the native material by examining the unclearing invariant structure which is based on the linguistic sign system. Structuralism. Structuralism considered language as a system of symbol, text, या signs A or C. Symbol signs. As an intellectual movement, structuralism became the heir to extractionalism. Science is the concept type of both and B. Combine Marxism and structuralism to create his own brand of social analysis. Althusser. Saussure wrote in language there are only difference without positive. Structure can be defined as an concept system that the proper all of a dash is sign of the union of a concept and a sound image sign.